Hey, welcome to another episode of Uncle Ricky's House. And I'm Uncle Ricky, and welcome to Uncle Ricky's House. Today's topic is, how do Americans survive the American political system? And this may seem like a ludicrous topic, but politics, not for the first time in the history of this country, have gotten us to the edge of a cliff that if we fall off, we will be involved in the second Civil War in the history of the United States of America. The last one occurred like a little bit over 150, 160 years ago, ended in 1865. Now, the very thing that makes a democracy go is the healthy political competition, the multi-party system, under the theory that everybody's thoughts get to be represented, not down to the individual level, but just say a combination, a cumulative effect, and voiced by the representatives that come from the individual states or come from the individual districts in those states. And in theory, this should be the system that works the best, and it does, but it is not secure from corruption. It is not secure from bad actors on either side. And it appears that the right has been infected by extreme right thinking that is affiliated with some very non-democratic ideas. The Republican Party has always claimed to be the party of small government, but now it's down to they want to be the party of basically ruled by committee, ruled by minority, or ruled by one, dictatorship. So, and the MAGA wing of the party that seems to encompass, it's the doghouse for all the nuts, all the extreme right-wing factions. MAGA itself being a right-wing faction, but it embraces QAnon, it embraces the Oath Keepers, it embraces the Proud Boys, and the NRA, and all of the extreme right-wing talking heads, Tucker Carlson, and all of this has served to diminish the true political value of the party, but allow the party to use politics as camouflage for some of the most anti-American events, some of the most anti-American thinking in the history of this country. And the current issue that is politically infected or being misunderstood because of the politics involved is the fourth indictment and surrender of the former 45th president of the United States, Donald John Trump. First of all, it's new territory for this country, new territory for the people, because no other president has ever been criminally indicted during or after their time in the White House. There's an unofficial doctrine that a president can't be indicted while they're in the White House, regardless of what they do. I guess just to protect the image of the presidency and moreover the image of the country. But criminal activity to the extent that Donald Trump allegedly perpetrated, you can't just let that slide. You just can't, call for an insurrection basically in your name just to get you back into a position that you lost in a free and fair election, an election that you have contradicted and complained about and basically called fake, false, and a big lie ever since you left the White House, even though you or none of your minions can produce any evidence that supports the fact that there was enough fraud involved in the election to overturn the final results. And the few cases of fraud that were actually verified, even by Republican courts, Republican judges, involved, guess who? Majority Republicans. It's an issue that needed to die before it even started. 60 cases were presented in court, and all 60 cases were dismissed. People's lives were ruined because they were called out as participants in the plot to steal the election when there was no there was no the election wasn't stolen. Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States. You may not like it, you may not like what he does, but it's just a fact. Get over it. But here we are, because of politics, specifically hyper partisan politics. We are facing the embarrassment of having, a former president allegedly being a criminal. And if you want to ask me on, straight up, yeah, he did it. He's a criminal. It's just got to go through the court system now. The thing is, how does the rest of the country survive? Because the people that love Trump are going to continue to love Trump, irregardless of whether he gets convicted or not. They would like to see him go free. They would like to see everything that he did be ignored. But you can't allow that when the country needs to prevent anarchy, to prevent a total chaotic society. You have to have law and order just to put a lid on things, to have the hopes of being able to operate with a modicum of sanity. We were never meant to be a lawless society. That was one thing that the forefathers insisted upon. How we devolved instead of evolving, when we did have evidence of social evolution, of political evolution, of legal evolution, to make this country non-chaotic, in other words, basically civilized, for so long, how did it get disrupted? And unfortunately, the answer is politics. Because we, the people in the middle, the small people, the people that have the majority votes, that send all these idiots to their elected positions, whether in the State House or in D.C. or even in the White House, we stopped paying attention to our candidates. We got locked on to the hype. In other words, say what I want to hear, even though you don't mean to do it, or you don't mean to invoke it, or you will invoke it because it suits your own goals, then we're going to vote for you. And I know that's hard to understand, because that's the whole purpose of campaigning, to hook that vote. But it's not meant to hook the vote to cover your own greed. It's not meant to lie to hook the vote, to put you into the White House and then ignore everybody else and do what you want to do. And it's not meant to hook the vote to elect yourself king or queen, because in a democracy you don't have kings and queens. We had a bloody revolutionary war to break away from a monarchy where we were not represented, but we were still taxed. And now we are getting back to one side wants to put all the taxes on the rest of the people and ignore the needs and the demands of the people that are paying the majority of the taxes, and all they're doing it for is to reduce or prevent them from paying taxes, even though they have the majority of the wealth. But they want to protect every penny they got, and to do this, they want to put their foot on the neck of everybody else. And they do it best with politics, paying the politicians that are in, promoting certain causes in certain parties that they know that the thought is going to divide the nation. We've been fighting over race, we've been fighting over abortion, we've been fighting over education, we've been fighting over welfare, social security, social entitlements for years now. And all it has done is put a big gap in the ability of American society to sit down and negotiate and compromise. If it's a majority, you can't, even in a majority, if the majority wins, you're not going to get everything you want, and it doesn't mean that the minority, because they lost, gets nothing. But one party, the Republican Party, that's the way they want to use the political system to make things in America. How do we survive American politics? How do we survive the American political system? Well, a lot of people say just disrupt it and blow up everything. Well, where do you go from there? How do you survive the chaos that occurs when there is no leadership? I mean, it's not that people need somebody to tell them to do what to do through every portion, every segment of their life, much like the Republican Party is attempting to do. They want to get into your bedroom. They want to get into your schools. They want to get into your children's minds. They want to get into your churches. And some churches, got the doors wide open. Come on in, because now we would rather believe in a spray-painted, bald-headed, comb-over human than the Jesus Christ we have been claiming for centuries, all in the name of our politics. We want to make our politics really our religion. Instead of being Christians, we're going to be Magites or Megaites. I don't know. But it's all a result of political thinking. And that's unfortunate. Politics made this country, and now it's going to break the country. So how do we as Americans survive our own political system? The way we survive is take it back over and make it the people's decision. You can use the vote, you can use the ballot, but both sides have to think about what they want, think about, if we get it, how does it affect everybody else? Or, how much does the other side opinion affect what we want to do? Can we compromise? If we can't compromise, can we just do without it and, improve what we have? But do we have to go to war for the sake of politics? Trump's fourth indictment, he's going to turn himself in Thursday, and the country is waiting because there has been an uptick in actual physical violence perpetrated on people for political reasons or social reasons that are supported by particular political party. It's part of their platform. The Republican Party, as Christian as they are, they don't mind killing people today. They hate LGBTQ. They don't want to even take the time to understand it. They want to use every point of the LGBTQ experience as a talking point to justify their reasons for putting their foot up the asses of everybody else that's not MAGA. They embrace extremists, conspiracy theory formulators. They elect and they continue to elect and support and re-elect just nuts. Gosar, Rob from Texas, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. They keep putting crazy Lindsey Graham back in, as corrupt and crooked and useless as Ted Cruz is. They keep re-electing him. Marco Rubio, he's lost. Look at what politics did down in Florida. DeSantis has a grip on Florida. He's destroying Florida because he's turning it from Florida into DeSantis land, or trying to anyway, and he's doing it very badly. And he's screwing up an entire state, an entire population of the state. Tommy Tuberville, he's using politics or a political stand, a political talking point to hold up the promotion of 300 officers in the United States military. Not only is he affecting the personal lives of the individuals that are scheduled to be promoted and their families, but he's holding up, he's jeopardizing the security of the country, because these people are not in the places that they need to be in order for the military in all 4 branches or 5 branches now of the service to conduct their business efficiently and operate on a single plan, because these people are the planners. These people are the go-getters. These people are the ones that put everything into motion when the shit goes down. And Tuberville, because he's pushing a political talking point against abortion, is jeopardizing the security of the country. A female service member having an abortion, it may rub some people wrong politically or religiously, but it's not going to jeopardize the security of the country. A female member of the service that a person not being in the place that is supposed to be, the place that they have been ordered to do the job that they're trained to do, because Tuberville doesn't want to see the military spend money on service members getting abortions. It's almost traitorous, because if China decided to attack us, or if North Korea, if Kim Jong-il, finally decided, well, I got a couple missiles now that'll reach the United States, so let me just go screw with them today. The people that are supposed to be in place, the people that are supposed to be in charge of shit, to prevent shit, to take shit to the place that it needs to be for retribution, they can't do it because they can't take their offices. And now the positions are vacant, basically being run by committee or run by acting people, but acting people really have limited power. They cannot produce the plans that are going to be in place for the time that these people were supposed to be in their position. And because of Tuberville and because of politics being the way it is, we don't know when he's going to stand down and let the military operate the way it's supposed to be for the security of this country. Trump, he's been sheltered by politics. He's been sheltered by the indifference that the position of being president or former president, definitely a political position because you are elected to it, offered him. And now he is using those same politics. He's already taken over the other major political party in this country, and he's turned it into a sledgehammer, and now he's turned it into a hand grenade, and he's willing to pull the pin just to keep his ass from going to jail. And it looks like between Bonnie Willis in Georgia, because everybody's saying, even his own people are saying, she's got the best case out there. All it has to do is get into court and let it play out. It doesn't even have to really be a fair judge, because they got TV cameras in Georgia. There will be no shenanigans. There will be no thrown out verdicts. There will be no set aside verdicts. The evidence is going to be presented, and anybody in their right mind with a half a mustard seed of integrity and decency, Donald Trump is going to be convicted. And this is what he's afraid of. And he's using politics as the excuse. They are politically persecuting me because I am the president's political enemy. Politics. How do we as Americans survive our political system? And the only way we can survive is, one, either do away with it, and like I said, how are we going to survive the chaos that's going to result from that? Or two, we the people, the grassroots level, make politicians stand up for what they're supposed to be and stop taking all of this corruption, turning a blind eye because they hate the same people, or supposed to hate the same people that we hate, or they're gonna do this for us and not do that for them. Pettiness, bigotry, prejudice mixed with politics, it's going to be the death knell of America. Well, if we want to survive, we got to make our political system what it was meant to be in the beginning, a system that gives fair representation for all people across the board. Well, that's it for me, Uncle Ricky. I'm going to say, once again, peace out and God bless. Until I see you again, see ya.